come on in. Hey, thank all of you for being here. Here's the order of events today. I'm going to introduce Dr. Gus here in just a few moments. Then Pat Sullivan from the search committee is going to come and have a few remarks. Bill Stone, the president of the Auburn University Alumni Association, will have a few words. And I'll come back up and introduce Coach Malzahn. He'll have an opening statement or two, and then we'll take questions, and then I'll come back up and take questions, okay? All right, so thank you all for being here. It's a great day for Auburn. Please join me in welcoming our president, Dr. J. Gus. Dr. Gus.
Thank you, Jay. I'm delighted to be with you, and certainly want to echo his words of appreciation for each of you being here today. Coach, we're delighted to have you back at Auburn. We appreciate you. I have to tell you, the search committee is a tough group. Tough group, and so, Coach, I want you to know that not only did they recommend you unanimously, but with great enthusiasm. And so I really appreciate all their good work, and I certainly appreciate and look forward to having you here. I want to make a couple of comments about Bo and Pat and Mac. You know, these guys are distinguished graduates of Auburn University. They don't have to be involved with us in any way, but they made the decision to take on this task to be very engaged and try to do the very best for Auburn. And so it gives me great, great pride when I think about their careers, both on the field and off the field, for them to come back and invest time in a job that many people will be critical of, for them to spend the time, to spend the energy, and spend the effort to try to make sure that we got the right person for Auburn University. Person that cares about our student athletes, person that's going to make sure they graduate, person that's going to make sure we play within the rules of the game, and coach to make sure we win ball games. Thank y'all. Appreciate you being here.
Dr. Gooch, thank you for entrusting us with this important task. Our work was important, and this is because of our school's deep and justifiable pride in our university and our football program. This was a real committee, and we took our work seriously. Mac, Bo, and Jay, it's been a pleasure to work with men of your character and commitment, and I thank you for all you've done. Our criteria in finding a coach, we wanted to find a coach with high character. We wanted someone with great leadership abilities that could attract a staff that would recruit and develop young men in all areas of their life, spiritually, academically, as well as athletically. Coach Jordan, my coach, had 7 Ds of success, not only to be a success in football, but in life. His first D was discipline. Any successful person must learn to discipline himself before he can discipline others. Desire to excel. You got to have that burning desire to excel in your chosen field. Determination. This is what makes you keep on keeping on. Dedication. A man must be dedicated to achieving his ultimate goal. Dependability. A man is only as good as his word. Desperation. How calmly and efficiently we perform in desperate situations. determines to what degree we'll succeed. And this last one was damn it anyway. When you've done everything you can do and things still seem to be going against you, you got to reach down and get something extra from your inner self. I'm confident that our new football coach exemplifies all these characteristics. Let's all get behind and support Auburn's new head football coach. Welcome home, Coach.
Thank you. Thank you, Coach.
It's an honor to be here tonight. You know, we Auburn alumni and friends love our Auburn traditions. We're proud of the Auburn family, and we're passionate about Auburn football. You know, one of the great Auburn traditions is to welcome family home and to make them feel like it's home. That's real easy tonight because it's more like a family reunion. Welcome Coach Malzahn home, Christy, and now your young ladies with you. Welcome home. We're proud to have you back. You know, as we start this newest chapter in Auburn football history, it gives me great pride, and I'm excited to be one of the first to say, Coach, War Eagle.
It's my honor and privilege to introduce our 26th head coach. I too can't be more proud and learn so much from this search committee. I mean, these three guys, we had a time together, and they not only the entire process going through it, but the character and integrity that each of these men have in their own right. But also the number one goal from the very beginning was to do what's best for Auburn. And every time we sat and talked, it's all that mattered. It didn't matter about what else was going on out there in the world. All that mattered was let's do what's best for Auburn. And so our unanimous choice is Gus Malzahn. Unanimous choice. Please join me in welcoming our 26th head football coach, Coach Gus Malzahn. Gus?
All right, I stand up in front of you today, and I'm just tickled to death. It's a true honor for me to be the head coach of the Auburn Tigers. I spent 3 years here, and I can honestly say it was the 3 best years of our life for my family, myself, and I feel connected forever being an Auburn man with the Auburn family. I'd like to thank Dr. Goose for this opportunity, Jay Jacobs, thank you for this opportunity, and the search committee. And I want to second the search committee because I've got a chance to interview a lot of different times and all that. This was a different committee. And I was proud to be a former, whether I'd have got the job or not, I was proud to be a former Auburn person and watch the way they went about their business, first class. And it's an honor that they chose me. And I don't take that lightly. I will do everything in my power for the Auburn Tigers to be successful. Our players are going to be great examples for this university, on and off the field. They're going to be men of character. I just got through talking to them. That's the first thing that I expect from them. The winning will take care of itself. We will have a fast-paced offense. I believe this day and time is a great advantage. We will run the football, and that will be our staple. We are a run, play, action team. We will have a defense that is attacking. These days, all these spread offenses and the things they do, you've got to have a multiple defense. And we will be attacking in all areas. And it'll be fun for our fans, and we will get this thing turned around. My goal for this is to get this thing turned around to play championship football like Auburn expects. All right, I'd like to open up for any questions.
We'll go ahead at this time. Please raise your hands, members of the media. In the back.
Coach Rick Carley, Fox 6 in Birmingham. You think you have a little bit of a recruiting advantage? While you can't talk about specific recruits, you've recruited a lot of these kids, and some of the blue chippers out there indicating as of late this afternoon that they're still committed to Auburn. Does that give you a little bit of an advantage in that you know a lot of these kids?
Well, we are going to recruit the best players in America that has the best fit for us on and off the field. And I will get familiar with these guys, and we will hit the ground recruiting as soon as this is over with.
James?
James Crutcher from Montgomery Advertiser. Either to you or to Jay, are you guys able to say the terms, both financially and length of term for this contract?
I'll address those in my question and answer.
Frederick?
Yeah, Gus, can you talk a little bit more? Mark Murphy from Inside Advertiser. Can you talk a little bit more in detail what you told the team tonight?
Well, first of all, I just told them it's an honor for me to be back as their head coach. I'm very familiar with a lot of them. Matter of fact, I recruited a lot of them and have very good relationships. And I just told them our expectations to win championships. Whatever happened last year. It's a new day. And our expectations are going to be high. Nobody's going to outwork us. And we're going to put a good brand of football on the field, and we're going to have fun doing it.
JJ?
Hey guys, right here. This is Jay Tate from AuburnSports.com. Hey guys, how you been?
Good.
Just talk about what you learned your year at Arkansas State. Obviously, you learned a lot here, but what do you glean from that 1 year?
Tell you what, anytime, of course, I was a head coach in high school for 15 years, so as far as on the field stuff, it's the same. But for college football, it's the off the field that you got to get used to. It was a great learning experience for me. I learned a lot, and I feel very prepared coming in here.
Back right.
Gus, Scott Griffin, Fox 6, Smash Mouth Radio. I was wondering if you've made any determinations on assistants. Will you interview them or any incumbent? What's your decision?
Tell you what, I'm going to take my time and I'm going to find the right fit for us. We are going to hire men of character. They're going to be great examples for our players first, and then they're going to be great coaches and great recruiters. So I'm going to take my time to try to get the best person wherever he is.
Mike?
Gus, Mike Rada, ABC 3340 in Birmingham. In that same vein, are you going to give everybody on the current staff an opportunity to work for you? I know guys like Brian Van Gorder said he would love the opportunity to try to turn this thing around from a defensive standpoint.
Well, I'm going to get the best fit for Auburn, no matter whether it's guys that are here, guys that are with me, guys or other places. And I'm going to take my time, and I think that is so important, the staff, and so I'm going to take my time with it.
Get in the middle.
Gus, James again. Did the NCAA investigation, the pending NCAA investigation, ever come to your thought process when you were considering taking this position?
Yeah, I feel very confident that everything's fine, and that's fine.
Gus, just kind of talk about what you'll do after this, what as you start this process.
Sure. Well, it's going to be recruiting immediately, and to get caught up with everything. Also, it will be hiring staff. It will also be meeting with players. So there's not going to be a lot of time to rest, but this is an exciting time, and really looking forward to it.
Coach Malzahn, Jeff Shear, WSFA Montgomery. In your following up on what JG asked, your time as a head coach, how did you enjoy all the ancillary things in addition to just meeting with and coaching your players as far as?
Well, I enjoy being a head football coach. Like I said earlier, 15 years of being a head football coach, and I got a chance to be a coordinator for 6. So being a head football coach is very natural to me, and last year definitely helped. I thoroughly enjoyed it.
Gus, this is Mike with the Black Auburn News. Will you coach Arkansas State in the bowl game, or are you fully committed to Auburn?
You know, we'll still. I need to talk with their administration and all that, but I'll say this: I am 100% committed to Auburn and getting this thing going as soon as possible.
Mark again. Mike, please.
You guys had a really nice season out at Arkansas State, winning the conference championship. Was it tough to leave just a year after getting out there?
Well, I get extremely close to my players, and you know, anytime that you do that, it's tough to leave. Arkansas State was very good to me and my family. The players were unbelievable, and it was tough to say bye. But at the same time, I'm so excited to be here with players, like I said, that I'm already familiar with, and really looking forward to coaching these guys.
Aaron from center, Coach.
Hey, Coach, Aaron Brenner, Columbus Ledger-Enquirer. Auburn's offense had a lot of struggles this season in a new pro-style set. How much did you get a chance to watch Auburn, either during the season or even in the past few days, and what needs to change for next year?
Yeah, I got a chance to watch very little. I mean, when you're a coach at another team, I mean, you don't have time to watch other teams and TV and all that. So I watched very little.
Back left.
Gus, Mike Rada again. I was just curious, have you spoken with Coach Chiswick since he was terminated here? And what were your thoughts as you watched this team struggle, having known everybody on the staff and most of the players on the field? What were your thoughts this fall in terms of any empathy for them?
I've not got a chance to talk to Gene since that, but I will. You know, from afar, I take a lot of pride in Auburn, and I was hurting for him, and I was hurting for him.
Front right.
Gus, Ryan Wood with the Opelika Auburn News. Obviously, you're very familiar with Gene Chiswick, and you know that it's only been 2 years since he won a national championship here. For him to be fired within those 2 years, was security a question that arose during this interview process with you?
No, you know, all I'm worried about is what I'm doing moving forward and getting this thing turned around and getting to a championship level. And that's the only thing on my mind, and we're going to get it done. And, you know, obviously there's going to be some challenges, but here's the good thing about it. I know those challenges. I'm very familiar with the personnel, and we're going to get this thing turned around.
Coach Rick Carly, Fox 6, I think you just answered my question. I'll ask it anyway. What would you tell the Auburn nation, the Auburn family, the one message you want to give them after a tough season? It's been tough. You saw some of the fans leaving games, etc. What's your message?
It's a new day. It's a new day, and my goal is to get Auburn back to a championship level. And like we said 2 years ago, we won a championship. And the expectations of Auburn is to win championships. And so that's my goal, and we're going to do everything in our power to get that done.
Guys, maybe get back here. I'm wondering how involved you are defensively, how much you were with Arkansas State. Do you want to hire a guy and kind of leave it be? Do you focus on offense? I know you'll have ultimate oversight, but how do you?
Well, I think as a head coach, you have to have a philosophy, and your offense, your defense, and your special teams all has to fit in that philosophy. And like I said, we will be a fast-paced, attacking style offense and defense. This day and time, I believe you have to. And so I will be on top of every area of our team at the same time. Our coaches will be able to coach, but I will be on top of all areas.
Coach Bill Cameron with Tiger Communications. Sort of tag teaming on that, following that up. I know you said you're going to take your time, but defensive coordinator, do you have some folks in mind, and any kind of sort of timetable as to when you might do that?
Yes, the coordinators are obviously the priority, and that's the goals we'll go after first. And I do have some people in mind, and we'll definitely visit with them.
Raise your hand if you have a question. We'll have them back to center.
Coach, Zay Hakeem with Comcast Sports Southeast. What was your reaction when you arrived at the airport and you saw the various Auburn fans that were there to greet you?
It was unbelievable. It was an unbelievable experience. The Auburn fans are the best in the country, and it hit me right when our plane landed and we saw how many people were there, and it was just it's an unbelievable experience.
Gus, how long have you been talking to the committee, and when did you make the decision that you really wanted to take the job?
Things happened pretty quick. I believe everything's happened probably in the last 3 days, and it was, I believe, mid-afternoon.
Gus, it's Mike again with the Opelika Auburn News. It's been a rapid ascent in your career from 6-7 years ago, coaching high school football, from a coordinator to a head coach now at an SEC program. Just talk about that. Just that change in that time period.
Well, first of all, I've been very blessed. At every spot that I've been in, I've been fortunate enough to have great administration, great coaches around me, great players, and the situation is no different. And I feel very blessed to be where I'm at.
John, up front.
How much of an advantage is it just in the transition in the short term to have some guys who've already played in your system
guys you recruited for that system?
I think it's a huge advantage from that standpoint. And not only the offensive guys, I'm very familiar with a lot of the defensive guys, either watching them, helping them recruit. So I'm very familiar with this team. And so I think that will go a long way.
Jason?
Gus, you talked about having philosophy like on offense and defense. Do you have a particular defensive scheme in mind, a 4-3-3-4, or will that kind of depend on what kind of guy you're looking for?
Well, it's got to be multiple. This day and time of just playing one front is extremely tough with all these spread, wide-open offenses, and I think you've got to be able to do both, odd and even, and that's what gives offenses the most trouble.
Gus, yeah, back here in the middle, sorry. Here we go. This team had three starting quarterbacks this year, one of them sitting right here in the front of the room. There may or may not be somebody else joining that group, but you certainly were part of recruiting some of these young men. Are you able to say at this time who you believe or who you think the starter will be for next season?
No, I have no idea. All positions will be open. I do know that we've got some guys that can execute our offense and that are familiar with our offense.
Philip? Gus, Philip Marshall, Auburn Undercover. Will you call the plays and those things as you have done in the past?
I will be helping with the offense. I can't tell you if this time that I'll actually be calling the plays, but I will be involved. That's what you're saying.
Coach at the far back.
Guys, Christina Chambers, NBC 38. Just kind of talk about, did you go to Hugh Freeze for any advice since you guys kind of had similar paths?
Me and Hugh Freeze go way back. We started college football, I guess, the same year, and we're former high school coaches, and so we talk quite a bit, and we bounce things off each other, and we talk quite a bit to answer your question.
We'll take a few more. Front.
Coach Bill Cameron again. Speaking of timetables, things like that, where do you see Auburn, as far as talent-wise, since you're as familiar as you are with it, being able to turn this thing around?
Well, we do have some talent, and we have some deficiencies. And what I've got to do is identify the deficiencies and address those immediately. And also the mindset, the mindset and expectations, physically, mentally of our players. So we got some work to do, but I know the areas we need to improve on, and we're going to address those.
Aaron.
Coach Aaron, again, from Ledger Inquirer. I don't know how closely you've looked at next year's schedule, but you'll have a familiar opponent in week 2 with Arkansas State.
How about that?
Any early thoughts about that matchup?
Yeah, that's pretty ironic. How that works, and they're going to be a very good team.
We'll take one more before handing it over to Jay Jacobs. Mike?
Gus, I know you don't sleep a lot, so
I don't.
How with everything that's going on, when you got hired at Auburn, you were at Tulsa and you were doing the double duty there, and then obviously last year at the bowl game doing double duty, and if you do double duty again, how do you keep up, and kind of where are you going to stay grounded as far as it comes to just what you're going to do at Auburn and how you're going to be able to
like I said earlier, we had to cross that bridge regarding the other thing, but there won't be a lot of sleep. This is a very fun time of year to be coaching, and I don't need much.
All right, Coach, thank you very much. We're going to turn it over to Jay Jacobs now at this time. Again, we ask you to raise your hands for questions.
Hey, thank you, Kirk. Hey guys, I appreciate these players being here, and I know a lot of former players are here. Appreciate all of you being here. And Gus, I see a lot of our current head coaches for different sports and certainly some fans. But thank you all for taking time to be here, particularly you players. Thank y'all.
JG.
Hey, JG, AuburnSports.com. You probably know me.
We met.
I know it's weird to say. What really jumped out to you when you were interviewing Gus? Just kind of the thing that really jumped out and you thought, this is the guy I need right here.
When we started this process out, we laid out basically 3 criteria. One is who can win, and he's consistently done that everywhere he's been. He won a national championship here as offensive coordinator. The other is we're looking for a person that would continue the high excellence of athletic, not only athletic but academic success of our football team, of this athletics department. And then thirdly, is a great ambassador for Auburn. He represents the character and integrity, the same things that wrap the creed up. And that's why it was a unanimous decision to hire Gus, because he exemplifies those three characteristics and then some.
Jay, Rick Carter here at Fox 6A. How many did you interview? How many candidates? And again, if you could give us some contract terms.
Certainly, Rick. Thank you for bringing up. Let me talk about the contract terms first that were mentioned earlier. The general outline of the contract is $2.3 million a year for a 5-year contract. And we have a memorandum of understanding, and we'll be happy to get that to you all later with the fine details. As far as who else we talked to, out of respect for all the other candidates and the process that went on, we're not going to get into names or talk specifics about the process at all. So I trust that you would understand that, Rick.
Jay,
Hey, Mike.
Go ahead, sorry. Jay, just to go further on the terms, is there also a buyout in this contract and what those terms may be?
They are, and we'll get that to you.
Jay, when did you know Gus was going to be the guy? You said he kept coming back to a guy that had a proven track record of winning and doing it the right way, doing what's best for Auburn. When did you know that Gus was the guy, and when did y'all come to that conclusion?
Well, we came to that, it was a unanimous conclusion. And as we said, we had a chance to talk about a lot of things and a lot of people. But the characteristics that he brought to the table were just head and shoulders above everybody else. I'm not sure, Mike, there was a particular time it did, but this morning I called Dr. Goose and told him of the committee's unanimous choice to hire this proven winner and this great ambassador for Auburn, and he said certainly do so, and so Gus and I are going to talk today on behalf of the committee.
Jay, Mike Rada, ABC 3340 in Birmingham.
Hey, Mike.
Hey, Jay. I was curious, Dr. Goose in his opening remarks said that he knows this decision will be criticized. I know there was a lot of strong input from various factions of the Auburn family, everybody wanting their guy. Is the family fractured, and how hard will it be to get everybody on board with Coach Malzahn?
We've got some passionate fans, don't we, Mike?
Yeah, you do.
They love Auburn. They love Auburn football. But I know this. I know that the Auburn family always comes back together, and everybody may have their different choices. But when a committee of these three guys make a choice and it's unanimous, and Gus represents something, if not all of what these three men represent, the Auburn family will get back together. And they're already starting to. Just by the reception that Gus had at the airport and things that are happening in social media, just makes you proud to be an Auburn man. You can have your difference of opinion, but when the decision's made, everybody gets on board, and it's just a great part about being in the Auburn family. Thank you, Mike.
Back right.
Jay, was there an overriding factor in hiring Gus? I'm guessing familiarity with him makes it easier, or was it, or not?
Basically, I think maybe Bo and myself were the only ones familiar with him. It's a very objective process, very thorough process, and just those things that we talked about earlier, and then some. His character, and he can win, and how he represents and what he expects from our student athletes. What else?
Any other questions? Mike?
Jay, was it important to get somebody in here before Wednesday, the Super Six, with all the coaches coming in? Was that a time frame that you guys set up, so we need to get somebody in here by X amount a day?
Mike, our time frame was to however long it was going to take to get the right guy. And it was a thorough process, and we got the right guy.
And Jay, also, what's your thought on Gus maybe coaching at Arkansas State in the bowl game? Do you have a thought of that, if you haven't thought of that yet?
We haven't. He hadn't had a chance to talk to their administration, so we'll talk about that later, Mike. But the main thing is that Gus has convinced all of us of is that Auburn's his number one priority. And having known him and the committee getting to know him, those who didn't know he's a man of his word and man of integrity.
Bill?
Jay, having known Gus, was it as imperative for him to lay out a plan and how everything's going to come together and what all needs to be done?
Bill, I was one of four, so yeah, it was imperative. Me having known Gus had very little, if anything, to do with it. He came in and through the interview process, he laid out a plan. I would say, guys, that was stellar, and it was a unanimous choice. And we've got a guy that can. It's going to take a little while. It's going to take a little while. We've got to be a little bit patient. You don't win 3 ball games and all of a sudden you flip this thing around. It's going to take a little time to get his players in here and get the discipline back in the program that he needs and the X's and O's and get the right people around this team. But we're convinced wholeheartedly that he's the man to get you guys back to a championship level. It's just going to take a little time.
Student James.
Both for Jay and for President Gooch, if you can address this as well. Jay, was it ever expressed to you by Dr. Gooch that your future with the university would be contingent on the success of this hire?
Hey, first of all, any conversations that Dr. Gooch and I have stay with us.
Mark?
Bo keeps whispering in my ear these answers. It's really distracting. Y'all don't want to know everything that went on.
Mark?
Jay, I know you can't talk about individuals. Can you just talk about the scope of the search? Is it like nationwide? Did you get a lot of interest? And just a ballpark figure, how many people you really seriously looked at?
We cast a wide net, and Auburn does a great job, and we found that out through this process. So, yeah, we're not going to talk about any particular names, but the only name we're willing to talk about is our 26th head coach, Gus Malzahn, and looking forward to championships.
John?
Thank you, Warren.
Yeah, Jay, John Taylor,
Hey, John.
Hey, obviously there were some off-the-field problems with this program the last couple of years, and I just want to know how much was that a factor? Did he have to kind of convince you that he was going to keep the discipline, which you just mentioned, and keep the players straight?
You know, John, as we talked about a week and a couple of days ago, you know, all that is a factor. The wins and losses, the discipline, all that comes into play. But when Gus came in and laid out a plan for this committee, he touched on everything that we thought was very important and then some. So it's all important.
That's a long answer for yes.
Up front, JG.
Yes, JG again. As far as Gus getting his assistant coaches, just talk about how committed you are to getting him the resources to get anybody he really needs or wants.
Well, we continue to be fully committed to getting the best coaches we possibly can, and that's not going to change.
We'll take a few more. Any others?
I got one.
Come on.
Yes, sir.
My question is for Jay or Dr. Gould. Pat, Mac, and I are wondering, who should we send our bill to?
Send me your bill, Bo. I'll write you a check.
Jay, thank you. What we'll do real quick, we're going to do a photo op with the group, and then we'll do some breakout one-on-ones off to the side, either side, and then some here at the front, all right?
Again, thank you all for being here. God bless War Eagle.
Thank you.